WROL Broadcast. I am Hate Mail. With me today, we have the cast of AAD in our Part 2 episode. With us today, we have Biff.
What's going on? How you doing?
Witty Amazon.
Hello.
And Retmus.
Hey, buddy. Glad to be here.
And we are talking... We didn't have a chance to do the Burger Shack. This month has been a little crazy. I had surgery, then got COVID, then a complication from surgery. So it's just been big old crap show to this month. So everything's late, but we want to touch on the reworks and the new tunes. So I guess we'll start with the newest tune first, since that's probably what most of you are most interested in. Do any of you guys have Naomi geared, other than me?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I mean, I have her L1. She's not fully geared, though. I was slow gearing her a little bit. She's only like gear 6 right now.
I do think for the people that want to slow gear her, she's probably going to be pretty good for raids, so that might be a problem for most people. She's a little better than I would have thought she was, because I really thought she was going to be really bad after watching some of Burger's videos. I like her art. I like her animation, especially her legendary. Her legendary gear looks so much better. Her legendary art looks so much better than her normal, which is rare.
Yeah, I like the armor for once. Normally, I don't like it when they tack on a bunch of armor on the character that just totally takes them away from their original appearance. But it actually looks good on her. I agree.
Yeah, and I like her portrait. She's got a really cool looking portrait when it's legendary. So
yeah, where she's going like shh, she's going like the be quiet symbol.
Yeah, and then so she does surprisingly good damage at times, but the problem with her is that everything is 50% chance to do this, 50% chance to do that, which on offense is not great usually. On defense, it's super good because it almost always procs for her. I'm not crazy about her. I don't think she's... I mean, when I rate her, I'll probably give her a B. She's usable if you want to use her. I don't know her lore at all. I know she's a newer character. I know Burger liked her a lot, but I don't know. Do you guys know her lore at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically she was from a parallel world, and there was I forget exactly where it came from, but there was a bunch of like radiation that came to the planet, and there was like a certain amount of people. Like I'm going to say this is just a guesstimate. I don't remember the exact number, but like 25 people that were endowed with super abilities. And they basically fought each other till there was only like a handful left and killed each other off. And her parents were 2 of those original that had her. So she was like the firstborn child that had all these abilities. And to keep her alive and from harm from the other people, they sent her to our world to basically live out her life and be safe from their kind. And
Sounds
that's where
like a Superman ripoff.
Exactly. It's just like Superman, and she has some really cool abilities and everything. I haven't got that deep into it. I just started reading some stuff and watching the new TV show since she was brought out. So that's how I was able to dig in a little bit and figure out what is this character about? Where she come from and stuff like that.
Is the show any good?
I tell you what, the first 4 episodes, you could fall asleep because it's so slow of a build up. I mean, it's really, really slow. And for a comic book series, you want to have a lot of action or some twist or suspense or something to draw you in and pull you into the show. And it just doesn't do it on those first 4 episodes. It just doesn't. You don't even know. You don't really see anything until I think the 3rd episode. You get to see some Hawkman wings. That's about it. And random powers, but nothing definitive. Like, oh, I got to see what's next. It's not keeping me on.
How many episodes are out?
I believe there's 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's CW, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can't watch it then.
I gotcha.
Like Redwood said, it's super slow, and I know those teens have no real notion of stranger danger. They just walk up to the characters just to purposely fill some of the how do I say, the storyline, but it has no action, no real cliffhangers. and that's the problem with it. And as far as the character goes in the game, what you've described about it, Hate Mail, since people don't really know her that much and are not into her that much, they might not use her after all.
Well,
that's the main issue. She's not well known.
Yeah, and you don't have to be well known if you have a good kit. I mean, look at Arcus.
Right.
But
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's her problem. With Arcus, he's great. So even if I don't know him, which I didn't before I started this game, I still use him. But with Naomi, I see no excuse to use her.
Well, also you got to
You know what I
think
mean?
with Arcus, he's a Green Lantern, and everybody knows Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
So he's got that edge. Oh, he's another Green Lantern. Let's use him. But Naomi's like a nobody.
she
Hey,
has...
how much like health does she have? Because like her basic gives a percentage chance of 75% chance to gain taunt.
Mine says
can she
100.
take a
Yeah,
hit?
it's 100
Oh, yeah.
if it's fully ringed.
100.
Okay.
That's her biggest drawback is she can't take a hit. Really, I mean, she's not. I mean, she doesn't. She's not like super squishy or anything, but she doesn't have. I mean, she's got almost 40,000 health, so she's got a decent amount of health. But characters hit so hard, especially the really strong blues that you see on every team. So
Spectre.
yeah, so she's gonna get nuked by Spectre instantaneously, which is a problem. You don't want her to taunt. I use her basic as little as possible for that reason.
Okay.
Her 2, well, actually, I'll get into the legendary a little bit. So the main reason to bring her is her 3. Her 3 does a lot of damage, and it's an AoE. And there's not a ton of turn 1 strong AoE greens, so that's kind of your really only good reason to bring her. I would take that first because when it does the double damage on whoever it does it on, I had my Siren against Burger's L5 Naomi almost die turn 1 from her AoE. So it can be pretty strong.
Gotcha.
The other thing I like about her a lot too is, and I would take her 2 next, because even though it's a 50% chance to apply double damage and then stun, I've never not had it stun, and my RNG means it's broken probably. So it's something that I wouldn't say too loudly because it's probably not supposed to stun all the time, but it always stuns. So it's pretty useful to have that on an ability. So you can, use it on somebody. I've used her a decent amount in Siege, mainly because it's red heavy, and when I see red heavy teams, she's pretty darn good to bring. And then her basic does do decent damage, but you're afraid to use it because you don't want her to get the taunt in most cases. Occasionally the taunt's useful if you're trying to protect a blue from a red or something stupid, but so I would probably take that next. Her 4... the legendary to get the death immunity has saved me when I've had to get her taunt, and she's gotten it. But it's only 50% chance, so anything that's only 50% chance is usually not worth having. It does save you
Right.
occasionally, but it's not that useful. And then I would probably take her 5 last because she's got to have 3 debuffs for everything to proc, and getting 3 stamina ups is... I mean, if you have 3 debuffs, you're probably going to lose anyway, so...
Yeah. Yes. So when I was looking at her kit, hey, I think I put down 32145.
Yep, that's exactly what I have.
Yeah. On the same
Yeah.
page at least.
See, I'm taking her L1 tonight, and I was actually, because of my situation of having her gear 0.33 right now,
So specific.
because I'm out of G10s now, and I've chosen to make her my slow gear. I was gonna take 4 first, just so she could make it through Alliance Week, just so she could survive.
And that might make sense. So
Yeah.
But I wouldn't recommend 4 first. Anyway, but as Hate said, 50% is not a good. 70 should always be the gate to say, is this a good percentage?
So if you like Naomi, interested in Naomi, she's not bad. I mean, she's there's worse characters out there. She's absolutely usable. Problem is, there's just so many other greens that are so good that that would take a spot over her. I have her on a couple of my 2-man teams where I was able to make her work, so just for fun. But she's So moving on.
Tootie seemed to like her too.
They should tell you something. Low B tier character. That's a Tootie tune. She'll get an S tier rework so Tootie can be the meta, just like
Don't diss her teammate.
Hey, he makes stuff work. It's kind of impressive, actually.
Yeah, and he has fun, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next up, a character I'm not as thrilled about, but she turned out much better than I expected, and we'll let you run with her, Biff, and that is Jessie.
Yeah, so I like Jessie a lot, especially after we believe they fixed her evasion. She is evading.
So let me ask you a question. So I notice that she evades when I have another person giving her evasions. So it seems to trigger her evasions. But when there's no other evader, even on Siege, on defense, I never miss. So I wonder, have you used her outside of an evasion team?
Yes, I have, but against lower level teams, because like in the Gem Blitz or something like that.
Yeah.
And what I have seen is she does evade without help from other people.
Okay, so it is fixed then.
Yeah, she does evade, but against very low. I don't think the power level matters. So I saw it a lot in the Gem Blitz, her evade with no support. But I will tell you, she will shine with the support.
Yeah.
You know, because she is somebody that, and by the way, the biggest advantage for people that run evasion, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, is her 2, as far as I can see by running her constantly lately, is just a one-turn cooldown. And her 2 is gain 3 speed ups, apply 3 evasion to her and allies, with a legendary of gaining a permanent crit chance up. So she has a really interesting kit because she has a lot of permanent stuff.
She's going to be good in raids, I think, for that reason.
Yeah, and she supports the whole team. So if I have a Batgirl team and every other turn I can give 3 evasions to everybody, it's very valuable. And obviously her speed, she gets a lot of turns, so a 1-turn cooldown plus a lot of turns, she's just stacking evasions on the whole team. I mean, she's utility and a striker. She has permanent crit chance up, permanent evasion ups, she ramps, she purges, she steals. It's the kind of this new generation. It's like the millennial WB characters here, where they give them a little bit of everything. It's, you know, they just give her a lot of stuff, and she can be squishy, but as I said, she stacks very quickly, and if she has the right teammates around her, I think this is one of those ones that I'm going to take her RB3, and I think at RB3 she'll be, but once again, it's maybe not your ranking, Hate, based on like the tier list, because we're not basing it on how high a RB you have it, but I believe she'll be one of my top characters at RB3.
I mean, I don't know why you're holding back and not going RB5, but you know.
Well, because I just bought enough to get her to RB3. I believe me, I busted my dollar budget this month on. I think I got 2 of her packs, plus a bunch of 8K packs, and I had a very difficult morning where I sat there with a calculator. I sat there with a calculator figuring out exactly how many shards I needed if I redo all 8 tiers every day, plus plus this, and I will
You're
have
probably
her.
going to go RB5 anyways, aren't you?
Well,
Because
I mean,
she's everything Impulse isn't in your evasion comp.
she adds the utility factor that Impulse doesn't have by supporting the rest of the team. Although I still love my Impulse, and I have an RB4 Impulse, but now, yeah, the
She has more synergy.
Yes, and the cow is out of the barn, or the horse is out of the barn on RB5s now that I've replaced Batgirl as my logo. So yeah, you'll see a lot more RB5s coming from me.
Before we get into Legendary Order, Biff or Witty, I'm not Biff, I'm sorry, Retmus or Witty, what do you guys think of her?
I'm on the same page with Biff. I mean, her kit just complements everything he has on the evasion comps. Outside that, and I've tried her, especially on Blitz now. She's not evading for me, which is not news. She feels like Harley Quinn. When you face her, she does evade outside evasion comps, since you're asking. But on your team, she doesn't seem to evade, and since she's a little bit squishy, she tends to die. I love her damage. She's a very fast character, and I think she'll be very valuable in raids, even if she's just a 3x.
Right. I really like her as well. I mean, I like the fact that, like, if she's stunned and she can purge off that stun at the beginning of her turn and instantly, you know, gain 2 strength ups as well with her 4th passive, I believe. I really like that about her. She is pretty well-rounded too. Like Biff was saying, she's got a little bit of everything. And I think that's what a lot of the characters are going to need in this game now to stand out. Because when the game, you know, in the earlier years, it was just like only one person had this ability and another one had this one. So if you wanted to bring those abilities, you know, to your team, you had to select each individual character. Well, now you can just multiply those abilities by bringing, you know, a few characters that have a little bit of each one of those abilities. And it just kind of like builds up the power and the strength of the synergies of the teams very well. And I do like that a lot. So, I mean, overall, I think she's a really good character.
Yeah,
Did you say she had stun? I don't think she has stun.
No, she purges the stun.
Yeah, she has a 75% chance, which is pretty high. And then, and, you know, that when she evades, stealing buffs is... mine's never evaded before, so I've never seen it, but...
Same.
But that seems like a pretty cool ability, so...
Yeah.
Getting into Legendary Order, I wanted to defer to your wisdom on this. I had originally had her 4 first, but I think that might be wrong because at the start of her turn, does she always gain 2 strength up, or does she have to purge to gain the 2 strengths up?
She always gains.
Okay, that's why I think I listed it.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, or you think something else should go first, Biff?
Well, obviously, I'm looking at it from a different perspective, and I looked at your list on your Legendary Order list. Mine was very different.
Okay.
But I'm also using her in a very different context. So I had her 3 first, just because of gain 2 permanent evasion ups for my, what I'm using her for. That's invaluable. But I found, other than 5, which I had last,
I did too.
I didn't see 1, 4, and 2 standing out. My list was 3 and then 1 and 4 in brackets. You could choose what you wanted there for 4 second or 1 second. Then I had 2 4th and 5 5th. So
Now, I was going to ask you about that because I found, because her 2's on, like you said, it's on a 1-turn cooldown. I find that I use her 2 over and over, and gaining that permanent crit chance up seems like it's pretty good.
It is, and that's why I said the other than, and by the way, I'm biased towards permanent evasion ups, so that's why I put 3 first, because I know how I'm going to use her.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, though.
I think 1, 4, 2, I think are could be the second one you choose, and all could be the 4th one you choose.
Yeah.
I think really 1, 4, 2 is dealer's choice. The only thing I'm passionate about is 3 is first, 5 is last.
I'm about on the same page. I'm doing 3, 4, 1, 2, 5.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm going to put 3 and then 4, 2, 1 as dealer's choice and then 5. I think that's probably the way to go.
Yep.
All right. So, Jessie, pretty good. If you like evasion characters, you'll love her. Even if your characters don't evade, she's still pretty good. I mean, I find her to be a pretty solid character without evading. So,
I mean, she's really the 3rd green that you could consider an evasion character, and 1 is completely garbage, which is Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
And so her and Bart are very viable speedster evasion characters.
I'm not a huge fan of hers personally. Like, I mean, I doubt I'll use her outside of this month, until she comes back to Siege. But she's quite usable. Pretty solid character. Let's move on to another character that is the community split. I'm not a big fan at all.
I know who it is.
But a lot of people love her, and that is love him. That is Adam.
That one threw me off when you said her.
Yeah.
I meant to say
I thought I knew exactly where you were going.
What?
Witty, you seem to like him a lot.
I think he was the best rework. I think we can all agree on that. And he's gone from 0 to hero. He's very usable now. He's a great Spectre counter. I don't know if you would consider him that, but he's got great damage, punching under the awarenesses and the buffs makes him really useful. And surprisingly, he was the only character in the Nightmare Challenge I've lost a tune to because of that. He has very specific abilities that help him out. The string tops, the empowered string tops really help him a lot, and he punches above his weight. And his kit now really goes with the character we know from the comics. That's the biggest improvement here. I think right now he's more in tune with what he is outside the game and where he is in the comics. I think he was very much
hit above
improved.
his weight.
Yeah, I think he improved a lot, and I would say you guys do the tier list obviously, but I would consider him A tier easily.
Yeah, there's some owls that say S tier. I think they're out of their mind. But
no, that's too much. But I would say A tier easy.
Biff, what are your thoughts?
I think he's good. I always struggle with a decent red coming into the mix. Like, how do I even work him in to what I do? Obviously, and he does have evasions and can give evasions passively. I like his kit a lot. He's really been kind of a thorn in my side in Siege. I've really had to be really careful to buff, because I've been using a lot of Jesse and starting with Jesse's 2, and then all of a sudden he kills my Spectre, and it's like, what just happened? So his 3 is one-shotting Spectres. His 1 is hitting them damn hard through the awareness, is what he said. I think he's a solid rework. I just don't know how I'm going to incorporate him. I'll basically take his week, his alliance week, and I'll figure out, it's just so hard. Even if it's a red with evasions, it's so hard for me to find a slot for him.
How about you, Retmus?
I agree with what both Witty and Biff said. I really like the character. I like it because every time someone gains a buff, he has 85% chance to get 50% turn meter up, and he also gains the empowered strength, which is buffing him to hit hard, especially because he might not be labeled the Spectre counter like Peacemaker was, but he definitely does the job as well. I mean, Peacemaker might have a little bit more in his kit, like the can't be stunned, according to like how Adam is. But I really like his ability to purge the buffs off of all your allies, call assists from them, get evasion ups to protect himself. I'm finding myself using him more and more, and I even like to team up Peacemaker and Adam on the same team just to make sure Spectre is destroyed. So, I mean, I would give him a solid A. I mean, in my ranking structure, I think he's really good. I wouldn't say he's S tier because there's a lot that he doesn't do to like survive like the S tier level, where they can pretty much stand alone and just dominate. He needs a little bit of help, I think, to get his abilities ramped up, but he's a solid A.
Now, first I was like, oh, did I make a mistake RB5ing Peacemaker because Adam might do it better? But then after using him in Wraith, expecting him to be a Spectre counter, I was horrifically disappointed. because he just gets stunned and all his buffs removed, and then he sits there and dies. So then I started using him in Siege, thinking I would like him more. I'm not going to look at him as a Spectre count. I'm going to look at him as just a buffing. Let me preface this. I think he's a solid rework and a good character, but I just don't see the even high A tier. I think he's like borderline A, B character. When I use him in Siege, he's always dies. I've only had one match where he didn't die. He dies quick. He's very squishy. It's funny, M4 even, I think, is kind of on the same page with me, which surprised me a little bit. He does hit pretty well. He's okay against Spectre just because he can go underneath the awareness with his 2. But really, that's the only thing he does, because he can't protect himself. He can't, he's going to lose all his buffs. He's going to get stunned. His 3 doesn't go through awareness, so if you can clear the awareness first, he can kill him, but that could be said of any red. So I think he's better against a character like Darkseid. I think he's really solid against teams like that because of all the buffing, because he does take a little bit to ramp, but once he's ramped, he hits really hard, and that call assist he has is a really, really solid ability, which I like. A couple times I've used him successfully in Siege was where I could call assist on Superman, and then Superman punches the crap out of everybody. But then if anybody uses an AoE like Naomi, he'll instantly die. So, and his evasions don't work either. So it's, I don't know. I don't see it. I think he's good, but I like people that absolutely love him and think he's like the best thing since sliced bread. I don't see it. But with that said, he's very good.
The main reason why I think he's good is because I hate facing him.
Yeah, he's, you can't leave a blue unexposed.
Yeah.
But
not a lot of taunters in this.
Yeah, that's
Siege.
why I think so many people are using
Right.
Superman. He taunts and protects you against the blues. So then, Adam punches him, and then Superman punches back, and he's dead.
Also, using his 2 on himself makes him ramp up a lot faster.
Yeah.
Giving him the evasion ups. That's kind of a benefit.
Yeah, and I do that when I've used him. He's solid. Like, if you like Adam, or you don't have Peacemaker, he's a good alternative to Peacemaker for Spectre. He's not. I think Peacemaker's much better at dealing with Spectre specifically, but Adam's very good at dealing with other high buffing tunes.
Well, I can rate him like this. He went from a character I never played at all for over a year to I play him pretty much every day, at least once or twice on a team. So to me, that's a great rework.
Yeah, and if you're an Adam fan, you have to be thrilled about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He went from a 0.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say hero, but he definitely went from like 0 to 3.
Yep.
But I don't know. Let's talk Legendary Order real quick. I'm very torn on him. I originally listed his 5 first because of the 2 empowered permanent strength ups for when an enemy buffs. I feel like that's the main reason to bring him. Do you guys agree, disagree?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I would definitely choose 5 first because of just getting the empowered strength ups.
And then I had his 1 next to ignore awareness, which I feel like is the other reason you want to bring him.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
And shields too, which is...
Yes.
Now, one other thing to note, though, that character does have to be buffed. So almost every character is, but in the rare occasion you're like facing a, which I didn't realize, I just forgot that was a requirement when I was facing it on a Troy team, and somebody had an awareness, and I thought I could punch through it, and didn't. Thought the game was bugged, and then reread it and realized I was wrong. But
you know what? That kind of doesn't make sense. And when I see that labeled, I'm just like, an awareness is a buff. So if they have an awareness, he has to have shield. Sorry. Okay. That was my mistake. It's both of them. You have to have both.
No, you don't.
Right?
You don't have to have both. They don't have to have shields. It's ignore shields and awareness if the target is buffed. I don't think the awareness counts as a buff because I did have a case where it did not punch through.
Yeah, but an awareness is a buff. That's why I was confused on that wording. I was just like, Okay, well, if they have awareness, then every single time it's going to work. What was the point of saying that?
I guess, I mean, it maybe that was a bug, or
Yeah,
maybe
how's
I
it not
just,
a buff? How is awareness not a buff?
But the ignore shields, you can see that Hal Jordan, after he loses his 2 turns, he could have a shield and no buffs. Azrael could have shields and no buffs.
Yes, I can see that, but if they have an awareness, it's always a buff.
It should be, yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I don't think that works because I don't know. It's hard to replicate because it's hard to find a character that doesn't have another buff
True.
with awareness. But next I had 4, which was also apply 5 evasions on a teammate when Adam. But I wasn't sure about that one.
I think I choose 2 next.
Yeah, I think I will switch it to 2. I think that is
I don't
probably
think
better.
people will use it much for the evasions, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you're good at if you have normal evasion luck, it's probably pretty useful though, because you're going to use this 2 early quite often.
Well, I know that it's helped me before because I've used 2 to call 1, and Arcus was on the other team, and then Arcus countered and missed me.
See, I think I do like the 4 better though, because all you have to do is hit the enemy, and you have a 70% chance to call their assist and give them evasions.
That's true as well.
That does happen a lot,
I would agree with that one.
and I think
Yeah.
I think I would go 2 next and then 3 last.
I think the only reason I did it because it was random.
Yeah.
Like on the call assist. So, but I mean, yeah, it could be either way. I think it just depends on the build of your team.
Yeah, I mean the 5 and 1 are the important ones, and then 4, 2, 3 are kind of dealer's choice.
I definitely had 3 last
Yeah.
because I have ML4 and I just looked at it and that was the one I left off right now.
Yeah, debuff immunity's nice, but you
Yeah.
don't use this 3 usually till later in the match. So
They're doing a lot better job of not having like pure trash legendary upgrades.
yeah.
They're doing a lot better job of keeping them fairly even.
All right, let's move on to Arsenal, who probably is the least. I wouldn't say he's the least exciting in the bunch, but he turned out he was a lot better than I expected.
I tell you, Aid, I got something to tell you about Arsenal. When they first reworked him, I was just like, okay, cool, so I went in and I was playing him. We did shows, and we spoke briefly about him, and I just wasn't that big a fan. And I was just like, he just doesn't seem like he does that much. And then I found out I forgot to select all his legendary points.
I can't tell you how many times I've done that. I mean, just so many times when they reworked. I'm like, this character's trash.
Yes. Yeah, so that happened to me. I thought he was like a C character. I was just like, man, he's just not that good. I don't see why people are saying he hits harder. I'm just like, I just don't see it. But that's what I have to say about him. After I went in and chose all the points, I find him a lot better. I mean, I've used him a little bit more, and he's pretty well-rounded. I mean, I would give him like a B. I mean, I think he deserves a B category.
Yeah.
And by the way, fun fact and fun recommendation for everyone: when Siege starts, always check the legendaries on your reworks.
Yeah.
Yes,
because
yes.
I've done that in Siege and it didn't go so hot.
What do you think of him, Witty?
He's the character I've used the least, mainly because I only have him at L1. He's kind of a rare character up till now. I think he does hit really harder now. The hit chance downs, I mean, they're not really useful in the comps I use, so he's not a character I would be excited about. He hits harder. The debuffs really help him out because he has a legendary point where, which one is it? He gets more damage per debuff on the enemy team, and that really helps him out in terms of damage. But overall, he's not someone I've used that much, to be honest.
How about you, Biff? He seems like he might be a little more up your alley, even though he's another red.
Yeah, but once again, it's really tough for Reds.
He's a red.
Yeah.
It's tough for Reds to crack what I'm trying to do. But I will tell you, his 1 and 3 do good damage. So that was a pleasant surprise, especially if he hits twice on his, if he hits an additional, a couple times in Siege, I've had him just knock off 2 blues just with 1 turn. And, any basic that does heavy damage and has a chance to go off twice, if you get lucky on who it goes off on.
Too bad it's at 50%.
Yeah.
50%.
Yeah. Exactly. No, absolutely. And as we always say, 70% is the level that you think something's good on a chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, good damage on 1 and 3. One thing to look out for with Arsenal, and make sure you know that this is there, because I've played with him a lot and not realized this until I kind of reviewed the kit again. Reset turn meter on his AoE, and it is a choose your own reset turn meter. So that can be really valuable when using his AoE. Don't just press the other side of the opponent like a lot of AoEs. Pick your spot, and you can reset turn meter on any of your opponents. I think that's a really valuable, useful, AoE.
It is. That's probably his best ability by far. Mm-hmm. Because the other thing I really like about it is with the legendary, the hit chance downs, and especially in this Siege, I've used it when I knew I was going to miss Dove and she was going to counter.
Yep.
But then she gets the hit chance downs and then misses. So.
I do have a question. Hey, maybe you can answer it. I believe it's his 4th ability. I was thinking he was going to be like kind of like how Star Sapphire was, just kind of like neuter your characters. When your team gets hit by an AoE, it seems to me that it only would trigger like 1 instead of putting like 6 or 8 in strength downs and intelligence downs. Have you found that to happen as well?
Yeah, it doesn't. It only does the 2. So it's only 70% chance. So it's
But by the reading of it, it said for each ally affected. So if each one was effective, that could potentially put 8 strength down and 8 intelligence down. If it worked like that, he would be pretty awesome.
I wonder if that's a bug. I'm gonna have to report that because he would be so much better if that was the case. And
that's the wording. It does say that.
I really wish his 2 did intelligence downs too, because I think that's one of our bigger problems too with characters like Spectre that run around, is we have so many strength down, but we have no intelligence down. Hardly.
Downs, yeah.
Yep.
Like I would love to see a Stargirl, like Zatanna, to be Stargirl equivalent, where when they gain strength intelligence ups, they turn into intelligence downs.
I'm done for that.
Oh, definitely. I do like it on some of the characters. They're putting both on instead of just one. I wish they would do that more often.
Yeah.
But when they do both, they just cap it to 2 each, right? 2 intelligence downs and 2 strength downs. And sometimes that ends up not being as useful as opposed to having just one of the 2 and having more of those.
Yeah, I can see that.
So moving on to Legendary Order, this was another tough one for me because it seems like a lot of his legendaries really aren't that impactful. The only one I really think is good, even though it's 50%, is his 1, because you really want that to proc. Do you guys agree, disagree?
I had 1 first, yeah.
And then I was torn between his 3 and his 2 next, because it's so...
I think 3.
Yeah, that's what I'd lean towards, just because his 2 only works if there's evaders. But the problem he suffers from, and the reason he's not as used as much, is because Terra is on a lot of teams, and debuffers just don't see as much play.
Right.
Yeah. I still had 3 as the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
And then 2.
Yep. Okay. And then I had 5 and then 4 was what I had listed, but...
Yeah, that's what I would choose.
I left 4 off. That was the one I left off.
Okay, so we're on the same page there. So yeah, solid. Another just solid character. I think that most of this month we didn't have any like amazing tunes, but
Right.
we,
And I like it when the characters are solid.
yeah,
If every character was an S tier, then there wouldn't be any like wow factor. When one comes out and it is above the others.
Yeah, because I think in a lot of cases, because we are fans of different characters, just making a character usable
Yeah.
for the people that are fans of that character is
We'll
a
make
win.
him use him. Yeah. We'll make him
Dr.
use him
Fate.
Because they're a fan.
yeah.
Right.
And I was the same way at Blackfire. I mean, she's not fantastic, but she's pretty good. And at RB5, she's
Oh,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
Better
I
than
went
ours.
up against your team. Hey, she destroys.
yeah, she can be good. You got to get her buffed and everything. On my 2-man teams, I used her a lot because she can survive hits from strong greens with her crit immunity. So, and that's all you really need. You don't need them to be S tier, but if they're strong and then you max them out or RB5 them or take them to a high rebirth, then they're well above average. Then they did it right. And I think this month they did it right with all the characters. Everybody's usable and good. Even Naomi, which is probably the weakest of the bunch. If you took her RB5, she's probably pretty strong. So, like, she's probably an A tier character at RB5. So, that's a sign of a good month.
Agreed.
Very much different than the last time I was on WROL Hate Mail when we were discussing Blue Beetles rework.
You actually got to say a few words this time.
Oh my gosh. I talked more this WROL than in that episode if you listen to it 10 times.
We didn't get to talk about it on AAD, and I'm almost at a hard stop, but just real quick, what do you guys think of next month's reworks and new tunes, what you've seen?
Little disappointed with their choices. I mean,
Surprise.
yeah,
On the
I'm
rework. Works, right?
disappointed. I'm super
On the
surprised.
reworks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
right. I'd rather have seen like Harley Quinn fight Vexing and Penguin. As
no,
reworks.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you.
Really?
Yeah, I've had nightmares with Harley last year, so we don't need that. I was expecting Penguin and Catwoman.
I would have loved Penguin and Catwoman. Catwoman especially. She's
Since
good,
I have
but
her rebirthed already,
But
so.
I'm talking the other. Hey, Woody, I'm talking the other Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I know, but we already had one nightmare, so I don't need a second one.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I really thought I thought it was almost a sure thing. It would be 2 out of the 3 of Penguin, Catwoman, and World's Greatest Detective. I thought it would.
Yeah.
I would almost have bet my paycheck on the fact it would be 2 of those, and was really surprised to see Hush and.
I
But
think
I'm happy about Talia. She's got great potential.
Oh, I love
She's
Talia.
already a good character and solid, and I like bleeds, so I think they can do good by her. I expect good things from
Talia's fun.
Talia.
yeah, I like Talia a lot. I would have rather seen Catwoman because mine's RB5, and she's really good, but she could stand to be just a little bit better.
Yeah.
But
Well, see, it just like both of those characters. I mean, they are both playable now. It's not like they're complete trash tier at all. So I mean, they're already good characters. I was just thinking they would go with some characters that have. Well, for a Penguin example, he used to be unbelievably annoying and a great character, but now you can pretty much one-shot him with a green. Any of the newer green characters. So I was hoping, they would kind of like fix some of those that just you can't use really much anymore.
well, the other thing is that Catwoman, Penguin, World's Greatest Detective, they've all been reworked once or twice. So I do like that they're going to 2 characters that have never been reworked, and both need a rework. So, I mean, Hush stinks, and so does Talia's not terrible, but she's not good. So,
No, she's all right. I think she.
Unless one of those
out of the
things-
two of them, she has
RB5.
potential.
But it's one of those things. Is it their kit or is it the fact they've been power crapped? Because I love Catwoman's kit. I love.
oh no, I'm talking
Talia's
about
kit. Yeah.
Talia. Talia's a little all over the place. I think she just lacks synergy with anything, so she just needs a little bit more. But I think she will be. I'm pretty happy with what I think her rework's going to come out as. So I think she'll be pretty good.
Cool. I've always liked her as a character. And Hush, I never really got into in the comic books. I never really saw him in the comic books that much at all. Maybe like briefly. I mean, I knew there was a DC animated film with him in it, and I did see that.
Batman Hush, yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
And I mean, it was pretty decent, but I never played that much, only when he first came out. So I'm hoping the rework makes it to where, kind of like Adam is, I want to play with the character because he brings a lot more to the table. That's all I really want out of any of the reworks, just so they're playable.
I think I've used Hush like 3 times. So I think he's like one of my least used characters. So I really don't know. I barely remember using. I used him in Siege when he came out, and that was the last time I used him. So
I've used him 5 times. the week he's been the 5-pointer. And that's it.
I'm assuming he has silence.
Yeah, that's why 2D.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why 2D Tron likes him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has both of the reworks.
He's got them both
RB5.
RB5, yeah.
And then Joker's very excited for Punchline, and
Everybody excited for Talon?
it's funny because I'm kind of disappointed in the Owls because I would think it should be mandatory that everyone RB5s him, and nobody seems as excited as I was expecting. People are like, well, if he's good, I might. If he's S tier, like yeah. They don't usually release S tier new characters, so I would.
It should be your avatar, so you all got to do it.
You would think, but it doesn't seem like it. And if everyone else isn't doing it, I'm not doing it too. So.
Not it.
Oh, you should.
Yeah.
I know one of your newer members isn't doing it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I know not all 30 people could or would, but I thought at least all the mega whales of the group would do it. But
Be the exception. Hey, do it.
we'll see. I'm gonna play with him. I'm not gonna rush into it. See if he can fit into my team somehow. He's a little different than what I normally
I don't know
run.
any of the new characters really that much from the comics, but I will say this: I think the design department did a great job on them. They look so cool.
Yeah, the art has really stepped up over the last while. Skins have been
amazing.
great. They've done a good job. All right, gentlemen and ladies, we need to wrap this up because I'm overtime to go. I'm getting text messages already. Where are you? So, really appreciate you coming on, and maybe we'll have to do this again.
Pleasure.
Do this again one day.
Yeah, definitely.
Our
Thanks
pleasure.
a lot. Hey.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Till next time.
You can throw away money on GME, AMC, or BB. Or you can toss your money in the dumpster by becoming a Patreon. Become a Patreon today and get special perks like Patreon-only episodes, early reviews, and content based on your requests. Just go to patreon.com/WROL Broadcast.